Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We are up and running for the NFP numbers this morning and see what we can see. So this morning, let me see. Don't have that trade viewed. So this morning we have our TradingView charts up so you can see all of the indicators that I'm using with the Edgeful numbers. And how I trade these statistics that I get from Edgeful. I will just pop this up. And let's see. Throw the link in the chat here. For anyone interested in checking out Edgeful, I am affiliated with them, so if you do decide to purchase from them, I do stand to make a commission off of that. Want to be completely transparent about that. But fantastic resource for any trader, new or experienced, to know the probabilities of your setups based on historical data. Yeah, you could spend weeks going back and pulling the data yourself and throwing it in a spreadsheet, but Edgeful just lets you do it in a matter of seconds and be able to pull historical data from up to 5 years back. And as little as the current month, you can even set your own time span that you want to check it on. So fantastic software there. Really recommend it to anyone. Dang. It wasn't so close to the news. I like this double bottom down here for liquidity. In fact, if we get through this fair value gap, I'm going to go ahead and take a trade here. Just a small one. See if we can't get down to this double bottom. Maybe even we take it on the news for a bit of a liquidity sweep. We did sweep the high. We didn't, this high, we didn't take these highs. I would love to see us come down and grab this double bottom down here. In fact, that is the New York range where the double bottom is. So let's see if the news pushes us down into that range. We'll risk this bearish fair value gap that was just made. And we're going to pull this down as well if we get a good news spike. We'll do that. Let's see. Let's take a look at yesterday. Okay, point of control from yesterday was 46,182. Let's just look at 50% of yesterday's opening candle. That should be a decent profit if we slam down there on the news. We're going to keep a really tight stop on this and just risk the fair value gap and see what the news does for us. Typically, the day of news is a down day. And then the days following is when the up move begins. So let's see if that's going to be the same case today. The book is probably starting to clear out. I do not typically trade like this on the news, but I like this double bottom sitting down here on YM. I could be completely wrong, and we just blast up to the top side, depending on the news. But I like double bottoms for liquidity sweeps. Okay, we got taken out there. And that's fine. Even took a little slippage, which is expected. And now we'll watch and see what the reaction is from the market. Get it off. Head back to the 2 minute. We are coming up to the 25 DRT level. Shut the low. See if we can't get one more push up on a candle. Okay, we swept this high. We came back and took a low. So that's going to be our dealing range on ES. Okay, and we are right at the 7.5 level there. See if we can create a little bit of a fair value gap and get another move up. That first candle up was pretty large. So that was about 27 points. We're actually above the 7.5. Looking to see the 7.5 hold with a fair value gap here. To move up to a swing high. We got a fair value gap at the 50. So would like to see a bit of a fair value gap here hold, especially like on the 15-minute time frame. So to leave some of this open. I would be looking for maybe 10 more points to the upside. If it looks like we're going to break, then I'll add to the trade. See, that's at 63, so 73 would be our target. Five minutes into the 15-minute candle. I'm going to add here. If we are going to form a fair value gap, I want to be able to get a little better price. Okay, so there's your 15-minute candle at the 7.5 level. I would like to see that hold. I'll pull this down just below the 7.5 in case we need to come back and retest. We do have a nice order block here that was created there. Okay. I know NVIDIA, let's see, NVIDIA stocks. Oh, I can't pull that up. Not on those charts. See what the last 7 minutes does with this candle. Let's just see what NVIDIA earnings did. Search NVIDIA earnings. Yep, NVIDIA beat earnings by almost $2 billion. So that, along with NFP, we'll see if that can keep us on a nice little push up. Yeah, we've got all the way up to 801. We have pushed up rather far in the overnight, so it's possible we come back first before going and breaking out on that. But I'm willing to take the chance on the news here. ES has not come back down to touch yesterday's high yet, whereas the Dow did. So we'll have to just kind of wait and see there. Hopefully this isn't the liquidity sweep just to go down and touch yesterday's session. We did fair value gap through that session on the 15-minute. So price action has been rather strong. And that is our fair value gap at the 50% level. Would definitely like to see that not get touched before going up and taking the high there. Let's see what the last 5 minutes are going to do on this 15-minute candle. Would like to see it head back up towards the high of the candle. The Dow is also looking to push outside of dealing range. Or, sorry, we had a new dealing range on this, so we're now looking to go back up to the 25%. Looks like we're going to have to wait and see what the next 15-minute candle does. Again, the reason I have my stops down here is I really want to see this create a fair value gap on the 15-minute here at the 75% level, which would give me a really good indication that we are going to go up and break that high. And I'm willing to risk going into drawdown on this account. It is an end of day drawdown, so if the pre-market doesn't work out for us, I'm pretty sure that we can get some or all of that back in the New York session. Yet I don't normally trade news, but with NVIDIA putting out its numbers on top of the NFP, I was willing to take the chance here. We did take the first trade was a loss. This one very well could be as well. So we'll just have to see. So from yesterday's close, which was right down here, we are up so far. We've moved up about 100 points. Now that's going to be pretty much the typical range for ES. Again, with the NFP numbers coming out, which look to be, I don't know the exact numbers, but just based on price action, I would say that the numbers came out decent for NFP. And with NVIDIA's earnings coming out, beating by 2 billion, maybe we do have a larger than normal move this morning. and just kind of looking for that movement to start here on the news and more or less hold through the morning. You can see we had displacement through Asia, and then the rest of Asia and London was consolidation. We have moved below for manipulation, and we did even swipe this first low before moving back up on the news numbers. Very easily could have more manipulation come in. So we'll just have to watch and see, right? But I'm definitely willing to take that chance. Probably actually should not have been short on the news announcement because of that fact. But I did like that double bottom there as a liquidity sweep for the news. So we will just have to see here if we do create that 15-minute fair value gap this morning off the news, and I would expect if we do that it's a strong fair value gap just based on news movements. So we did get a better price to look for our move up. So our average is at 60. We're looking for 73. I'm going to move this up just to this there. And I will put the other three right there, looking for us to go touch this pivot point on the news. Hopefully we can get up there. Actually, if we do make that fair value gap, I'm going to be looking to take 3 off up here at the dealing range high. YM has reached the 25%. If we make a 15-minute fair value gap there, that will be our breakout gap, and definitely would expect that to hold. Again, that's going to need to be at least on a 15-minute time frame for me for that fair value gap to hold. This could also be our breakout gap just below the 25%. But we will see how that goes. think we probably will wait to the open if we're going to go take out the top of the dealing range. So that would be a pretty large move on the daily range. Maybe come up to this pivot point and then come back, maybe retest that fair value gap at the open and then move up. But with NVIDIA's earnings and NFP numbers, again, I do expect kind of an outsized move for the day. I definitely have the urge to close this trade, but I'm not going to. I really want to see if we can get, I will, however, take profits a little bit sooner than that pivot point. We might wait until market open to grab that. So I would like to take at least half my profit off here pretty soon, just to definitely get back the first loss that we took. And actually, let's see, buy, we're getting close. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take half off here. Okay, I'm going to close that. I'm going to leave this stop down here. That puts the account balance, that gets our loss back. And I'm going to go ahead and move this stop up to break even so that we don't lose any money on this. And I will go ahead and move this one down to the pivot point. That way, if we can get up there before the market open, we're in profit, and we can then look to make money on the New York Open on a pullback to then go up to the dealing range high. I'm probably going to want to close this trade before 9 o'clock. Some algorithms are going to kick on at 9 o'clock, and they may want to come back down to get some liquidity and get price at a position for them to go up during the market. So we got 6 minutes left in the 15-minute candle. If it starts pulling back too hard, I think I may just go ahead and close the trade wherever I feel necessary. I would like to see the last 5 minutes of this candle close strong to get that final push up on the next candle to hit that target above. This funded account is the only one I'm trading at the moment. I'm waiting to trade the other ones after the open. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in a little bit more profit here. We're almost at 200, so I want to lock in at least $100 profit here. Or close to it, as close to it as I can without getting, I don't want to go all the way up to the top of this wick with my stop, especially if the next 15-minute candle is going to pull back before going and reaching that pivot point, which it looks like it may. We got another 4 minutes left in the candle. I'd really like to see it close above the previous wick. Get that nice little push up before the close of this candle. Doesn't look like it's going to do it. Still have a couple more minutes left. The Dow has pushed through nicely. Would definitely want to see that candle close and then create that fair value gap I'm looking for at the 2.25. That would usually be a pretty good indication that we're going to at least go up to the 50. And could find a trade this morning headed up to that area. I definitely want to see this candle close above the wick. And then we could look for some kind of pullback at the open. And then confirmation. We're going to pull back into this 15-minute fair value gap at the 7.5. Look for a confirmation on a lower time frame of the reversal there. To see if we do or do not get it. I may have my stop too tight here. I mean, do I want to pull it back to just break even, or do I want to lock in a little bit of profit for the morning? Yeah, I do have the conviction that we are going to go higher, but we're always going to have opportunities at, let's see, 765 is the 765 is the 2-minute 9. So my stop is below that, and we're coming down into that area now. If this is going to continue, we could very well break the 9 and pull back to the 21, which would stop me out. Yeah, I'm not getting the close on this 15-minute candle that I would like, even though it is above. It just showed some weakness up there, getting close to that pivot point. So we may have a little bit larger of a pullback on the next 15-minute candle. That would probably take us out in profit. And I'm not, I mean, I'm okay with that, definitely. With the first trade being a loss, this trade got back those losses and will get us into a little bit of profit for the day. and then we can look for better opportunities after the opening bell. So about 9 o'clock, let's see when the algorithms turn on what they're going to do. Should see a little bit of movement here at 9 o'clock. And we have hit the 9 o'clock hour. Let's just see where we're at. Right now we're up $153. Okay, so basically the profit we have right now, unrealized, is the profit for the day. So if it does come back and stop us out, we will have at least a small profit on the morning so far. Would really love to see this just go ahead and go touch that pivot point before the pre-market. The Dow is still just moving up. Definitely like that. We'll wait to trade the Dow at the open and see if we can come back and retest this 25 level and leave part of this fair value gap open. But as far as ES, I mean, I would really like to. I have a feeling we're going to get pulled. It's going to pull back and stop us out in profit on this before it gets up there. Knowing that the open is 30 minutes away, just this candle and one more candle after it. We'll have to see. That was a really good move on the Dow. A shame we didn't throw a trade in on one of our other funded accounts on the Dow. But it is what it is. Never worry too much about missing a trade because there's always going to be another one coming around the corner. I do need to go into Discord and get the live going this morning over there. Okay, not hearing any sound over there. Let me check. Let me check. Okay. Got that. Everything's good. All right. Oh. Yeah, if it doesn't break here, I'm going to go ahead and just lock in a little bit more profit. I want to see it break that high and go ahead and move on up to the pivot point. If it doesn't and it comes back and becomes a down candle, not able to break the last candle's high, then I think I want to just go ahead and get out of the trade. We are past the first 5 minutes of the candle, so we should see movement in the direction that the candle is going to actually take for the rest of the candle here. What's going on? Yeah, I jumped into a long on ES. I was short on the news because we had a double bottom. I was short on the Dow because we had that double bottom on the 15-minute chart, and I thought the news would go down and swipe that, so I took a $200 loss there, but then jumped in a long on ES. We fair value gapped through the 7.5 DRT level. So I'm looking, looks like it's just about to stop me out in profit. So we couldn't quite make it to the pivot point before the open. There we go, stopped out in profit. Not a lot of profit on the morning, but it's $135. Only traded that in one funded account, but Tradeify does. That was the Tradeify account. I'm pretty sure the top one allows it as well. But we fair value gapped on the 15-minute through the 75 DRT level. So now my bias is going to break the DRT high on ES right around 6,800. And if we fair value gap on the 15-minute here on the Dow, we're fair value gapping at the 0.25 coming off the bottom, which would typically be a breakout gap to at least go up to the 50% mark, which is sitting up around 47,258. So 47,200 is a good target there, and that's 600 points away. But NFP numbers evidently look pretty good. I didn't look at the actual numbers. Just basing that off price action. And NVIDIA beat earnings by almost $2 billion. So I do kind of expect an outsized move for the day, probably to the upside, because the ES is pretty much at its daily range now, but with good NFP numbers and a good NVIDIA earnings report, we could see an outsized move to the upside. Now, looking at the Edgeful reports, the typical reaction to NFP is on the day of NFP, we end the day down a little bit, and then the following 3 days produce an up move. So we'll have to see if that holds true today. But today's NFP numbers are going to be I don't expect those statistics to hold up simply because we have the combination of NFP and NVIDIA beating their earnings. So this could be an outlier day. I'm not relying on a lot of the stats today, just simply because of that fact. And we'll basically just trade the orbs and the initial breakout as I normally would without a bias. If market shows me it wants to go a direction, I'm going to follow that direction. So the Dow just hit the pivot point number 2 from yesterday. Now those pivot points are obviously going to change when the market opens today. But if we were to reach yesterday's pivot point 3, that will be around 46,880, which still gives us a little over 200 points. We'll see what the pivot points look like when they come out this morning at the open. I should have taken a long right off the news, because just looking at the overnight price action, I mean, Asia pumped up good because of NVIDIA's numbers, I'm sure. And then the rest of Asia and London just consolidated. And then we had our manipulation to the downside. Should have actually expected the market to pump up on the NFP news, but didn't quite get on early enough to realize that. We do still have that double bottom down there right at the top of yesterday's New York session in the Dow. And if you look at, let's see, let's just pull it up real quick. What is it that I was looking at? Outside days. If we go to the Dow. So when we've gapped up over the last 6 months, it's pretty much a 50-50 proposition on whether we retrace back into the previous session's range. If we move that down to the last 3 months, 70% did not reverse. And if we move it down to the last month, 83% did not reverse to go back into the previous day's range. And if we look at weekdays, on a Thursday, we didn't have any up gaps. Any gap down reversed 100% of the time to go back up. So that just kind of helps with my long bias at the moment. There's very, very little probabilities of us reversing back down into yesterday's New York session. Also evidenced by the fact that we touched it twice and made a double bottom there. On the 15-minute chart, which was also our manipulation of the consolidation of Asia's range. And we've at least made one 15-minute fair value gap at the moment, breaking structure. So I really like, even if this gap doesn't hold that we've made at the 25% level, if we don't actually make a gap there, I definitely would expect this gap below it that broke out of the 15-minute range, overnight range, to hold, and then maybe go back up and make another gap up through the 25 after the New York session open. Why is the fair value gaps not? Arrow on bar 0 cannot access the fair value gap field of an undefined object. The object is NA. Yeah, for some reason it's not showing fair value gaps on this chart, nor is it showing them on this chart. So let's just take that off and put them back on and see. Huh. Don't know why it's not running. Yes, I know you have a runtime error. Tell me why. Cannot access field of an undefined object. Let's remove all of the drawings and see if that works. Nope. So something is up with the fair value gap indicator in Edgeful. I'll have to message them and see if they can help with that. Well, no. Now the runtime error is stopped, but it's still not showing the gaps. Let's put it back on and see if it gives it to us again. Settings. Well, it's not giving us the error, but it's also not printing. Let's go back to the 2-minute chart and see. No, it's not printing those either. Well, I do not know. I do not know. Let's clear all the drawings off here. Put our dealing ranges back up in a moment. Yeah, I just don't know why that's doing that. Oh, really? Did we have a... Oh, okay. It was December. I'm on a 4-hour chart. There we go. Let's go ahead and get our dealing range back up. Boom. So from this high to this low is our dealing range. Let's lock that in. Head back to our 15-minute chart. We still have our fair value gap. We have made the fair value gap so at the 25, so let's see what happens with that. And on ES, we swiped the lows. We haven't yet taken back the highs, so we're still on a downward dealing range here from where we swept this high and then went and took previous lows. So we'll throw that one up from there to there. And this one I am expecting to break the upside. Just held that 5-minute fair value gap at the midline. See if we go take out the highs of that candle. Nice. Awesome. I think. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Nice. So I have a feeling, and I'm going to have to see if we've actually gone buy side now with the fair value gap at the 25% level on the Dow. I'm wondering if the Edgeful stats, when we get to a point where we're switching on the higher time frames from buy side to sell side market maker model, if that's not where the stats really don't react like they should on the charts, and then once we go into an actual buy side or sell side, if that's not where we start seeing the stats hold a little bit better for the kinds of trades that we're taking. Because when we're switching that sell side to buy side models, you're getting a lot of this back and forth over a couple of days, right? And then you actually start, being able to identify certain trends. When the model is changing, that's when it's sometimes quite a bit harder to trade. Like, I mean, we had an initial candle on Tuesday that was down, but price went up. Then we had an initial candle on Wednesday that was up, but price went down. And I'm wondering now if we've actually switched, because we've definitely switched into buy side. If this holds, as we had our market structure shift, we'd never really had a big, 6270 pullback after the market structure shift from yesterday. But then we've certainly broken structure, taking out this high up here at the 2.25 DRT level. And if we hold this fair value gap, then we've absolutely changed into a buy side model, at least on the 15-minute time frame. So I would like to see, if we find setups with buy side stats in our favor, if those don't start working out better now than they were down here where we were switching. Because I think the big boys have said 46,000 is the downside limit. Unless we get some really horrible news, which I don't see coming in the near future. Because right now the economy seems to be doing rather well. But that's going to be interesting to see, especially, I'm not saying that the last 2 days have been bad trading, because obviously I've been long biased anytime we get close to that 46,000 level, and have been able to take some really good trades off of that. But what you would normally see in the statistics for Edgeful for the opening ranges and initial balances and opening candle continuation just haven't been matching up with the price action. So definitely interested to see if that changes now that we've gone buy side. We've made such a big move up. It would be hard. It's hard for me to think that we're just going to continue up all day, but we've seen the market do this before, where we've just had some really, really big days in the markets, and may very well see if Value Gaps is giving me that runtime error again. Let me take a picture of this so that I can send it in chat to Edgeful and see what the hell is going on. And I'll take a look at that a little later. But we are almost at the open. I'm going to take a really quick break, and I will be right back.
Well, she texted me this morning at 7, I'm in bed. Then he can come between 8 and 8:30. Yeah. And I didn't read the message till 8:30. Now he can come early afternoon. He'll be in on time, depends on his work. The guy off the chair goes after 9 o'clock. He'll text me when he leaves. He didn't miss got up early this morning. I told her last night I need to hear from him this morning. Oh, do that after I got up. Didn't leave. Nancy, what you doing, baby doll? You're a baby doll. Yeah, I do love you. I do love you. Joe this morning. run her a whole week.
Yeah. But basically, she's paying me on Thursdays. What is this?
Nate was going to breakfast in the morning.
Huh?
Going to breakfast in the morning.
Breakfast where? Oh, okay. Why are my monitors out? Oh, I hate this shit. Missy, go lay down. Go. Okay. We got our monitors all back up. We're ready to go. And the market is open. Another nice push off the Dow. All right, that is pivot point 3 on the day. All right, let's make sure we've got our first orb open. Turn the first hours off. Okay. So we are looking at the opening range, the 5-minute opening range. And we've got to try to remember if we do take a trade here that we need to be taking it in all of our accounts. So everything is set up on a 3 contract entry. Just in case we take a breakout of the 5-minute orb and it decides to come back and take the other side. If it does continue, then we'll just add to the trade. Okay, so we're already at 100% of the daily range. And we're at 85% of the daily range on ES. So ES definitely has room to move here. Still just need to wait for this 5-minute range to go into effect. We are now at it. And what do we do from here?
Whoa. Missy, get off. Get off the carpet. Exactly like she's going to throw up. There she goes.
Probably the shit she ate tore up last night. She probably swallowed some of it. Don't let her eat it.
Go lay down. Let's go. Bed. Lisa got her off the carpet. Usually Glenn. Give her something this morning.
No, I said it's probably what she tore up last night while we were gone. She had something in her stomach that wasn't digestible.
What's the food? What's the food?
I'm going to go ahead and take a long on ES here.
Missy, you don't throw up, you're off the bed, baby. Are you done or you got more? Singer's starting to drool over there, and I'm thinking, what's she doing? Well, there's no food around. You better, huh?
All right, so that put us entry at the break with a stop below the 50%
Yeah.
of the orb on a day that I'm expecting a little further upwards price action on ES. That's a good stop loss. So even though we didn't break out with the fair value gap, I like the entry there. And I'll be more than happy to take that loss and look for a re-entry. YM still not giving me a whole lot of indication on what it's going to do there. We do have the 5-minute fair value gap that it finally started printing. I don't know why ES still is not printing fair value gaps here. Just sync this in the layout. Okay, no runtime errors, but still not printing. But I think we do have a 5-minute fair value gap right here that we retested and broke to the upside off of. And we do still have some room to move on ES to meet the daily range, whereas YM is already above its daily range. We had a little over $100 profit from this morning, so this stop out is fine by me. We'll be just in a very small loss if we do lose this trade. And this is just in Tradeify. I did not take this long in ES. I'm going to go ahead and take it now in one of my Ignite accounts. let's throw on the New York session VWAP. And lock that into place. Actually, I want to make that one a bit larger. There we go. Okay. And we'll also throw that on ES as well. Okay. Okay, we got stopped out on the ES trade. We do have that big fair value gap at the 75% on the ES and at the 25% on the Dow. We'll look here and see what happens. We have dropped below New York VWAP. We'll see if we can hold below it or if we break back above. That was the 75% level of the orb for ES, and we are down at the 50% level and holding on the 5-minute orb. So that was a good retracement after, well, YM actually hasn't broken out of either side, whereas ES has. So let's see what we do with New York VWAP here. We do not have midlines. Input. No, we don't have midlines on the fair value gap indicator for edge full. Okay, I'm going to take one more entry. Well, I'm going to take an entry on that. I'm going to take an entry on ES. And I'm going to take an entry on ES here. That is a nice engulfing candle off of the 50% retrace of the 5-minute orb on YM, even though we haven't broken out. And we'll give this one more shot to see if we can break out. YM's not going to make a fair value gap there. YM I'm a little bit more worried about because we are already past the daily range on YM. If this doesn't hold, then I will definitely be looking for some more downward movement. We did break above this pivot point, came back below it, got a good strength to go back above it, but still looking like it's going to fail here. We'll see what it does with New York VWAP. That's a retest of the 25 on ES after hitting the 75. Yeah, if this bullish engulfing candle fails off of this level, then I'm going to wait for the 15-minute orb. We've got a lot more room on YM than we do ES. I'm going to move that down just below 50%. Okay. Okay. That. Oh, yep, took us out. Okay. Let's see if the 50% holds this time on the Dow. We did swipe the low. So let's take the 5-minute off. We'll put the 15-minute orb up. Okay. Okay. We are long ES on the break of the 15-minute. Or is that the, do I have the 1 hour up? What the hell? Wait a minute. Settings. Oh, 9:30. That's the 30-minute orb. Okay. 9:30 to 9:45. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay. And R3 is up here close to that swing high. I'll let it get a little bit of extension here and see if we can start holding the 9 EMA on ES. Okay, we did make our fair value gap on the 15-minute. I will pull my stop to break even on the Dow. Not going to quite move my stop yet on ES. My target on ES or the Dow. Do I not have my extensions up on that? Retracement extensions up. Show the extensions. 0.5. Okay. All right, so there's our target. For the Dow, there's a retest of the 15-minute orb on ES into that 1-minute fair value gap. Back to the 1-minute 9. Retest of the 15-minute orb on the Dow into the fair value gap. There is an extension level 0.5. Okay. So that is my target on ES. See if we can get a color change on ES here to add to the trade off of the 9. We are back inside on the Dow. We are bouncing off the 9 at the moment. Haven't quite broke above the color change. Move my stop down to VWAP, New York VWAP on the Dow. That'll give us a retrace to the 25% into the bigger fair value gap. All right, I'm liking that so far. Need to see us get back above. Nine is flattening out on the Dow. And ES. We are getting some resistance at the midline of this fair value gap. We're just not pushing up like I would like to see. The Dow's back at New York VWAP. Stopped out on the Dow. right, I'm adding to that trade, risking the top of the orb. We held the top of the orb on ES. I'm in on two funded accounts on top one, and this trade on Tradeify. We are having to make up some ground on Tradeify, so our target there will now be the extension line. I need to pull the other one down. And that will be a break of that 4-hour swing high as well. So I'll probably take one off just before that swing high. Take 3 contracts off there. All right, I am going to move over. I'm going to take the 15-minute orb off, and I'm going to put the initial balance and the opening candle up, because we are moving towards the first hour of trading. Okay. All right, I like that. I'm actually gonna take part of this off at the pivot point. And then our extension is gonna be up here at the 4-hour high on ES. If we break through the pivot point, I may add to my top one trade. The Dow still, as much as it's moved, I think that might be I know we're coming up to a 4-hour high, which is probably causing a lot of the resistance as well on ES and the daily range on Dow. Okay, so we've made the 1-hour range. that is a good good color change off of view up on the Dow on the 1 minute. What is that? Not. What was that? Why did that candle extend the 1 hour instead of breaking it? Oh, sorry. We haven't. Hey, dumbass. Pay attention to the time. That's not the 1 hour. That's the 30 minute. Really don't want to see the 10 o'clock reversal here. $776, 7073. Okay. Are they all like that?
Huh?
Are they all like that?
We have mother, bag of ramen.
If you need more, I can walk up to Publix. Yeah, that's not good at all. I don't like that at all. Oh, come on. 773 is below the 21. Really don't want to. Hopefully we can get a push off of the 21 here. That That's back below the, if it breaks that, we're back inside the 15-minute orb.
Have another small bag.
Okay. Shit. Well, ain't that some shit. Slammed right back through New York VWAP on ES. Alright, so we'll just have to wait for the initial balance and see what we got going. Because that is a big, big push down on the 1 minute. Oh. If you want sugar, you've got a thing of sugar up in the cabinet. Brown sugar.
I have more than those. That's the sweet complete.
All right. How long do you need to be able to cook that?
Huh?
How long do you need to be able to cook that? How,
Some of that milk too. The packets.
okay.
I'm conversing in Spanish now.
Now we're just waiting. Let that first hour pop in. Not a great morning so far, but gotta have them. Gotta have them. starting another position here on ES. We're going to invert that bearish fair value gap, heading back towards the top of the initial balance. The stop, I've lessened my size a little bit here. And shit. That bastard came back and didn't invert it by like one tick. That son of a bitch. Oh, fuck. Sorry about the F word, but hey, we were right at the end of that 5-minute candle, and it just did not invert it. Oh, yeah, it did. Okay, never mind. I take that back. We did invert it. It just created the bullish. I'm sitting here listening to Real Deal Futures. He's going to be giving away an account today. So let's see. I think I have to pull that down to the 4-minute or 4-hour swing. If we break the 1 hour, then I will, or we hold this inverted at least. I may add to the trade here. I also put that trade up on Top One Futures. And I know we're up here, right back up at 100% daily trading range on everything, and may not be a good idea to go long here, but on ES, I feel like that 4-hour swing point up there is a good liquidity draw. All right, initial balance is now set. Real Deal is going to be giving away an account here shortly. Real Deal Futures on YouTube. Real Deal Zach on Kick. He'll be dropping the form here shortly.
If you want to wear 'em.
Okay. Form is up. All right, got 10 minutes to fill out the form. Okay. Nope. This isn't going to hold. We're just not wanting to break daily trading range. It is what it is. Just not going to get the move we're looking for. This shit keeps going down. You gotta be kidding me. No. Yeah. So we're not moving up. We keep getting slammed down. I just went ahead and went short in two of my accounts. Yeah, could be completely wrong here, and it just goes right back up again. But right now, we're just not getting the push up that I expected to take that liquidity on the 4-hour candle. Very well could, but right now it's just not showing me that. So we did break the top side of the 1 hour, and it's inverting bullish and creating bearish. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if we're going to turn around and go back the other way to retest the 75 DRT level and the 25 DRT level. I'm trading ES, so not really worried about what the Dow is doing at the moment. We're back to VWAP. We have bounced off VWAP, but we've got a lot of liquidity sitting down here on the 5-minute chart as well. And we are up at resistance level pivot point 3, so we'll see. Let's see what happens here. This will pretty much be our last trade of the day. If this fails, then we'll just call it a day. It'll be a losing day across all of our accounts, which, I mean, no big deal. It happens. It sucks. It always sucks, but hate to have that kind of a day on a good news day, but it does happen, and we just have to deal with it. So we've hit our daily loss here on this account. So let me just pull these over. Okay, so we'll watch these. We will see what happens. Duck races are off. Yeah, we're going to bounce off that again. Okay, picked up $300 profit on one Ignite account. Pulling my stop down pretty tight. All right, I'm gonna close that one. That's $450 on that one, 320 on the other. The fact that we've hit daily loss on all the other accounts. Still not a great day, but at least we did. At least we did make some money in a couple of accounts here. We'll go over in the daily review. So actually, we'll just go through it here in a minute. So that's that Ignite account. We had our max daily profit there. Max daily loss here on this funded. Max daily loss on that funded. Up $400, $456 on that new funded, and max loss on that funded, and max loss on the Tradeify funded. It happens, folks. There's not much you can do about it. We were expecting a little bit of an outsized day, but once we got up to 100% of daily trading range, we just couldn't push any further. I was looking for ES to go take that 4-hour swing high for liquidity, but it looks like we're going to could possibly make a lower high there, and move back to the downside today. Do we go all the way back to the Asia Open, back into yesterday's New York range? Very possible, because we don't have, we still got a little ways to go to get down there. But we are coming back down to the 5-minute 200 here, pretty strong move. So we're going to call it a day, with these wins on these two accounts. And we'll just have to trade well over the next couple of days. I do still kind of hold a bullish bias from here. I think we have actually moved into the buy program of the market maker model. So we'll keep that in mind, and we'll look again tomorrow, see how we finish the week off, and go from there. But we're still on track. You got to take some losing days now and again. It's just the way it is. Thankfully, we do have profits in a couple of the accounts, but the majority of today was daily loss limits. So I'll be back tomorrow. I'll do a review later today for the daily review and get that posted up. Certainly appreciate everybody that's come by and watched. And catch me again tomorrow at about 9 o'clock in the morning for the live. And do me a favor and like the stream and subscribe to the channel. Sure would appreciate it. Definitely would help us out a little bit. And until tomorrow, stay blessed.